We're live, everybody.
Hi.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Sunday.
Hey, Frank.
Glad
Hey, Mike.
glad to have everybody back. You know, last week was a hiatus, with Easter and everybody. I hope everybody had a nice Easter and didn't get too much chocolate in them. Chocolate kills you anymore, especially getting older. You start feeling all them carbs and getting all that sugar and everything. It's like, damn. And like when we were kids, when you could just sit there and eat the whole basket, and your stomach felt shitty for a minute, but then after that, you were in good shape. Now it's just like that hurts.
The recovery time is too long.
Oh yeah. Let me give a shout out to everyone in chat. We got Highway Vaping, Anthony Dunsmore's out there, No Splatter G's out there, Vaping Trucker, VapeX, congrats on that. On the win on Highway Vaping's channel. Lori's out there. Jerry Lawrence. It's me, dude. What's up, dude? Kenny B. What's going on, Kenny?
It's my son, George. What's going on, George?
Got Brian Enoch out there. Alfredo's been hanging out in the chat. I was hanging out in the chat earlier. Mark Sr., he was out there in the chat earlier. I think that's Vaping Vibes with Tom. He's hanging around. What's going on, everybody? Hopefully everybody's having a great day.
I just want to say it's good to be back on the show, Frank.
Oh, well, I'm glad you got, everything's starting to look up for you. You got that computer up and running. You still have another one coming your way, don't you, from the UK?
Yep, from the UK. Dimitri and Dave Vapes got together.
Oh, that's right. Dave's bringing it back with him, isn't he?
Yeah.
That's awesome. We've got Gareth Martin out there. Barry Hot's out there. What's up, Barry? We're not doing a giveaway today. You can't win nothing today, but maybe soon. I don't know yet if we're going to do it at the 300 or the 500.
We are giving away knowledge.
Well, we are giving away knowledge, yeah. Josh Rhodes out there. What's up, Josh? Tony's in the house. Tony, I'll figure your name out one day. Just Tony. What's up, Tony? Oh, Barry, I know you don't just go on shows for giveaways. We know that. Just busting your stones. All right, so today we're talking about subs, and not the kind that we all like to get in by the hundreds or the thousands in some cases. Not the ones you can buy. We're talking about the subs. When you're subbing in a recipe, you see a recipe, somebody else's recipe, and you're like, man, that's a really good recipe. And you look and you're like, but I don't have this. What can I sub to get the same flavor? It may not be the exact recipe, but to get something very similar.
Because I think when you're new, it's like one of the biggest frustration I ever had was you'd go and you'd find a recipe, be like, I got that. Oh no, don't have that. And you'd be like, and when you're new, you don't know. You're not sure enough. Can you sub? Will it be the same? Will it make a difference? And you're not really sure. So some of it is just try. Just go out there and give it a try and see, because you still may get a really good vape. So I think some of what we're going to talk about looks at, different kinds of strawberries, different kinds of creams, different kinds of custards, and kind of understand what each of those might uniquely bring. And then if you're going to substitute it in a recipe, is it really going to change that overall profile, or really keep the profile to what you were looking for when you went after that recipe? So that's kind of, I think, what we're going to talk about. The other thing I kind of want to talk about too were some remixes that we made. There were some subs and some remixes that we as mixers have looked at a profile and thought, oh, I really like that overall profile, but I think I'm going to tweak a couple things here and kind of make it to my flavor profile, kind of what I like. So that's kind of some of the things I think we wanted to talk about. But I'm not sure if everybody knows Mark. Probably everybody does know Mark. But Mark is...
I'm a troll. I'm a troll and all the
You're a DIY.
All the chats. All the time.
Everybody pretty much knows Mark. He's a great member of the community, always willing to help. He's fantastic, in all the Facebook pages. And I really appreciate all the content he kind of puts out. And so Mark's going to be joining us today because our other two panelists, Mr. Mophead and Das Moose are not available with us today. And Mark so kindly kind of came in and helped us out. And I think, maybe moving forward, we can have him on more and more here and there and see how it goes. I really appreciate your time today, Mark. So thank you for sitting in with us.
Anytime.
Your knowledge is completely amazing, and your enthusiasm is great. So it's a joy to have you on, and always great to have the ball handler back, Mr.
Yeah.
All right. So who wants to kick it off?
Well, I'm going to mention something real quick. Vapex is out asking in the chat about subbing out TPA's custard for, subbing out Capella's custard for TPA's custard. And I'm like, oh, absolutely. And probably same percentages, and you're still going to get the same effect out of your recipe.
No, let me hold on. I am not vegan stat. This was a joke a long time ago. I jumped in vegans and they're like, "Oh, are you vegan's dad?" No, I'm not vegan's dad.
If so, I'm coming up to Ontario to slap you because you did a shitty job raising them.
I would slap them.
But yeah, I mean, there's a classic example right there. If you don't have one custard, you have another custard, go for it. I mean, absolutely. I mean, it's not going to really, especially something like that, because they're both vanilla based and one may be a little eggier than the other, but you're still going to get the same flavor. Just like I'm starting to get away from Capella's, vanilla custard and starting to use the Inawera, or if I want that citrus note, put the flavor custard in there, or I picked up everything to do, the flavor bend that Fresh talked about last Monday. I already had the vanilla pudding, and now I got the Liquid Barnes vanilla ice cream.
I think with custard, though, too, with Capella's, and I'm sure Mark can chime in too with this, is that with Capella's, it is it is like there ain't no guessing whether Capella's custard is in a mix. It is an eggy, bold, you can go up to 15% if you want to get that really big in your face custard. So you can use TPA and you'll get that custard sense, but you're not going to get, and that's okay. But you just have to kind of be aware of that when you're building your recipe. That TPA is going to give you some of that mouthfeel, some of that silky creaminess, but you're not going to get the big in your face, eggy flavor, right? Is that what you think, Mark?
That's like version 2 as well for Capella's.
Yeah. Yep.
The version 2, what I say is the difference between the two is the steep time. Version 2, you have to steep it a lot longer than version 1. Version 2, you're also losing a little bit of that eggy note, but you're still getting the extra creamy notes. So it can work both ways. I've used both, but I prefer one over the other.
Yeah, the version 2, that's kind of like that. This one doesn't have the diacetyl, right? That's right. Yeah, which is good for, because I think isn't there some places over in Europe and that where they don't. They frown heavily on the diacetyl.
Yes.
Where they won't ship to those countries.
That's right.
So that's why they made the version 2.
Yeah. And everyone still wants the version 1 that has the diacetyl. It's all it is just an extra flavoring. But
I love diacetyl. Diacetyl is awesome.
You still get less in vaping than you do for cigarettes. So.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you see, it's just another way where vaping was attacked. Or, oh my God, it's got diacetyl. It's going to kill you. You're going to get popcorn lung and all that. It's like, no, I don't think so. No, you're shit weak. Try a different argument because that one's not working.
Yeah, Lori, I'm not a fan of cap custard, but I mean, that's just me, and it's in so many recipes. So yeah, one of the first things I learned to sub out was cap V1 because it just seemed to aggravate me. I don't like, meaning physically, like it would irritate me. I couldn't use it. And so kind of learning how to use ice creams and creams and other custards to kind of create that profile that I was after, because I don't like it, but it's in almost every custard recipe.
Well, what's really good too is the FA custard, for instance, it has that citrus note, but a lot of that citrus note will also enhance the other fruits that you put in there.
Yep.
A lot of times, a lot of people will have the custard, they'll put lemon Sicily in there to enhance.
Yep.
FA, it already has that citrus note, so it's going to enhance those other flavors you put in there. I use a lot of big bold flavors, so I'll use the FA because I love FA. That slight hint of citrus that's in the back of your throat.
Oh yeah,
flavors. It's just amazing. It's really amazing.
Yeah. I love it. I agree with you. I love FA custard for that exact reason. It's unfortunate we're not going to be able to get the premium custard here in the States anymore because, man, that was an amazing, amazing custard. I love that custard. But unfortunately, FA is not going to ship it to distributors in the States, it sounds like.
No, you have to get it from chefs over in the UK.
Yeah.
Yeah. But vanilla pudding and liquid barn ice cream, Flavoro vanilla pudding, and this is Fresh had mentioned the other day, and I had found this out too, because once again, trying to find a way to kind of create that custard creates a great kind of custard.
Yeah.
So liquid barn, you're getting the ice cream with a little bit of the eggy note, and you're using that pudding for the consistency and texture. I kind of use it in a 2-to-1 ratio, and that works pretty well for me, and I really like it. And very little steep time.
Oh yeah, that's a big thing with me is the steep time. I don't have patience for that shit. You know, if I can get away with shake and bake, I'll do it. I mean, I'll mix something and I'll put it away and forget about it. And it turned out to be awesome because I forced myself to let it steep. You know, I just keep it out of my hands, keep it, you know, because I found, you know, the blueberry donut that I made back last year, I had totally forgotten about it. It got buried in the back of my cabinet. You know, a bunch of other stuff got put in front of it. And when I was doing some organizing a couple of weeks ago, I found it and I vaped that 30 ml bottle in like 2 days. And not even using it all the time. Just, oh, well, where's that bottle at again? Oh yeah, that turned out really good because it had like a 6-month steep on it.
Unfortunately, with custards, even the custards that have a low steep time, you still need at least, you know, a week or two. You know, you still need that. But when I was making wine, one of the things I learned is there's no magic bullet. Like you have to let things cellar, you have to let things bottle. You just have to you have to let those flavors kind of do their thing.
For custards, I use 3, 5, 7, 14. 3 days, 5 days, 7 days. If after the 7 days it's still not good enough, give it another 7.
Yep.
And you're good to go.
Yep. 100%. Yep, that's exactly what I do too. I check it at 3, I check it at 7. If that isn't giving me anything, then I'm going to let it go. I'm going to let her ride. All in, let her ride. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just
we're talking substitutions. Like, how do you have a recipe that you like but you don't have the flavors? And how do you substitute? And then kind of if you want to make a remix, you kind of like a flavor profile, but you're thinking, you know, I want to make some tweaks and I want to do a remix on it. That's what we're kind of talking about. But yeah, we can talk about custards all day long.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
Because custard is such a common ingredient in a lot of liquids. Even if you don't, it doesn't say custard on the bottle. It may have a custard note in it, or you could taste the Cat V1. I had a donut bottle, store bought, and it did have a custard in it, and so
so much commercial juice has Cap V1 in it. They can just take that cap off and I can smell it. I'm like, oh, it's got Cap V1. Oh my gosh.
And it doesn't, and like Alfredo was saying, it doesn't have to say, you know, it doesn't have to say custard on. It's not like every liquid out there, commercial liquid is, you know, Vape killer custard. It's, you know, there's all kinds of different ones that may have a custard back note in it, and someone who is sensitive will pick up on it, like you, Mary Beth. I mean, they'll pick up on that right away. I love when I over drip and I don't bring any paper towels up here with me. So
Vapes Mophead did a thing on custards the other day. And I like what he's doing here. And this is something that's good for people that are learning how to mix too. And I still do it. Is that you kind of go through recipes and he mixes them and he kind of reviews them. So he did a series of custards. And he kind of goes through and he says, you know what, this is kind of a component I like in this recipe. These components kind of add to this custard vape. And that's something you should do when you're learning, is mix those recipes and kind of make note. Oh, these strawberries in this fashion work well together. Or this bakery. And I like the way they came together in this recipe, and kind of build your base of knowledge so that when you start building your recipes, you pull that out. You're like, oh yeah, I'm going to pull that out from Addie Tooney. I'm going to pull that out from Fresh. I'm going to pull, it's how you learn. It's a way to accelerate your learning and experience.
Oh yeah, we got Shindo in the house, another excellent mixer.
Yeah, man. I'm doing some of the old mango sticky rice here, man. It is so yummy. So yummy.
I almost bought everything to get cantrips the other day, and I totally forgot about it when I placed my order.
Yep, I got that too. Those two. Actually, when I went to Chef's, I just got the one shot. So I'm like, I'll just do the one shots.
Man, we got some fight going on downstairs.
Activity going on at the Daytime Frank world.
Oh yeah, sounds like a cat fight going on. Dogs and cats are fighting.
So, Mark, talk a little bit about some recipes where you've subbed some things out, or you've made a remix. What do you got going on there?
Well, I'm using my sweet creams over. I have multiple sweet creams. I have multiple milks. I have. Like with having a dairy allergy, I don't know what the flavors are, but I'm using with what I think is best. And I swap back and forth. Like for instance, I have strawberry shisha, and I have strawberry shisha by Inaware and strawberry shisha by Great Lakes. They're identical except for a little bit of sweetener. That's it. You don't have to. If it says strawberry shisha, just use it. Even if it's from Great Lakes, Inaware, it doesn't matter. You gotta try. You gotta try it. That's what DIY is. Just try whatever you think you can. Like if you could substitute everything in a recipe. Marshmallows, for instance. I use the vanilla one-on-one. It's got a great vanilla taste. It's more of a fluffy vanilla. But if I want a dense marshmallow, I'll do something else. Or there's just toasted marshmallow.
There's so many different avenues you can go with the marshmallow, especially something like marshmallow. I mean, it's just you can use let's say I really love the one-on-one marshmallow from the vanilla marshmallow from one-on-one, but the one that I started out with that I used in place of a lot of sweeteners even is the Flavor Art marshmallow.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I was buying that like every order. It's like, I need more of that because I like a sweeter vape. I'm starting to get it more towards the savory side and have stuff not as sweet. I mean, I'm not going savory like Giancarlo goes savory, but
ravioli savory, phantom ravioli savory.
That is sweet. If you have a recipe that's say you want a little bit of sweetener, you don't want to add sweetener itself. White chocolate.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I'm glad you brought that up. I think because it also adds a creaminess to a texture and sweetness, and it adds a little body, but it isn't overbearing in its flavor profile.
Yeah.
So that's a really good tip, Mark. Thank you for bringing that up, actually. I think the other thing, too, that kind of does something similar, although you will get a vanilla note more prominent probably, is the Cap Vanilla Whipped Cream. Kind of will do that, too. It adds a sweetness and a creaminess and adds body, but the vanilla will kind of add to it.
We got a few more out there. You're going to say Shindo's out there taking Boop Smith's here. So I don't know if we mentioned Sub Vapes, but Sub Vapes has popped in. He's putting some good stuff out there. Vanilla custard, I guess that's V2 at 0.1%. Cotton candy at 2.5. Dolce de leche at 1. French vanilla TPA at 8. And vanilla. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm reading them all backwards or something. Vanilla custard V1. Something like that. Yeah, 1%. Okay, I got screwed up there. All right, I saw what he's talking about that. Yeah, that's a good mix right there.
I would cut your vanilla custard V1 in half. 8% is really high. I would cut it in half. Everything else is spot on.
Yeah, I mean, you could go that high if you're looking for like a big bang, long steep. You have to realize as you go up on that percentage steep time, you're gonna probably increase your steep time a little bit too. So, that's fine if that's the profile you're after. You can do that, but you're gonna have probably a 4-week steep on that before you really kind of get what you may be after. That's the only thing. Yeah, Creed's custard, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly, Shindo. Yeah, exactly. So one of the recipes that I kind of started playing when I started was playing around with was a recipe. Let me screen share here by Wayne Walker. And how do I do that again? Screen share. There we go.
Okay.
And it was called Milk Plus. So he kind of did a retake on a commercial juice, and I had everything but the dairy milk, and I had never used TPA dairy milk before, and so I was looking to see what I could sub out here. So just from you guys, what do you think you might sub out for that dairy milk? What might you use?
Cream milky undertone from 101 comes to mind right away.
Yep.
This would work really well too. Milk from Wonder Flavors.
Yep, that's another one that would work.
You could also use, believe it or not, that white chocolate would work because it has that creamy note that you're looking for.
And this is an example of a kind of like excuse me, a really simple recipe that I think probably hits a lot of people's flavor profile. A lot of people kind of like that caramel, buttery. I know it's one of my favorites. And I used the cream fresh, but I probably could have used, like you guys had said, the 101 milky tones or Flavora's cream. I probably could have even used a little sweet cream here, but it all comes down to trying to understand what ratio of that whole mixture does that cream contribute, I think. So even though you're substituting it, you need to understand kind of what the range is in percent for that particular thing you're subbing out. Like if you're subbing out something that's Capella and it sits in that recipe at 3 or 4 or 5%, now you're going to a Flavora, similar sort of flavor by flavor or by Flavora, you have to be cognizant that you just can't make a straight, right? You have to be cognizant about what the percentage range is for that flavor, and that helps there. Stop sharing. Sorry.
Yeah, Shendo, I see. You're 100% right. This milk's super concentrated. It smells like vomit. But when I mix it in a recipe, I get the cream that I'm looking for, but on its own, yeah, it's pretty nasty.
Yeah, Shindo saying he doesn't like Wonder Flavors. Just Wonder Flavors milk or Wonder Flavors in general?
Wonder Flavors milk.
Yeah.
Yeah, it smells really nasty.
Well, that's kind of like my new favorite has turned into Hank's and Italian cream. And when you just sniff the bottle, you're just like, whoa, yeah, that's. Yeah. But then when you mix it with cheesecake, the shit the magic that makes. Oh, hell yeah.
Completely agree with you, Frank. When you smell it, you're like, ooh, I don't know about this one. This may have been a miss.
Pippa's in the house. Good morning, Pippa.
Pippa!
Top of the morning to you.
Yeah. Another recipe, let's see, that I've been that I've subbed out stuff for was another Wayne Walker recipe. Was his custard. Mm-hmm. Which I really liked. He was one of the first people I saw that started to kind of talk about popcorn in custards, and I really kind of enjoyed the idea of that. And I kind of wanted to make some changes and kind of improve on that. Here it is. He did it on one of his live mixing shows. So here's his. And obviously Cat V1 custard, it's not for me. So that was going to be a substitute for me. Yellow cake I like, but I wanted to see if I could use something else to bring out more corn notes. Mm-hmm. And everything else I pretty much kept the same. And then for mine, how do I get this out of the way? I did this. Here's mine.
There you go.
So I used Inaware custard. Inaware custard's not as eggy. It has a little bit of a shorter steep, but you still have to let that custard steep, in my experience. And then I love one-on-one cornbread. Like me and Addie Tooney kind of turned me onto that, and I absolutely love it. And everything else I kept pretty much the same. And so you get a very kind of sweet corn kind of pudding mix. And that's kind of that's how I went with it, to get kind of what I wanted out of it.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely works. I mean,
yep.
Anything you do like that, it's not like you're taking a something that's a strawberry vape and you want to totally change. I mean, you can totally change into a blueberry vape, but that's not really subbing. No, you're basically just changing the recipe altogether. But yeah, I mean, and that looks, it's a different. I mean, on the surface, it's a different looking recipe. But if you were to mix both of them and vape them both after the suggested steep times, you're not going to taste a big difference.
Well, no, you're right. I mean, not necessarily, but you are definitely going to taste more of. And I tried them except for the cap custard, but you get a much more prominent, grainy sort of cornbread component in the mix that I created, which is what I was looking for, Well,
that's the thing, that's the great thing about DIY is you can take a recipe, use part of it as your base, and then build something totally different around it.
Yep, exactly.
To make it your own. And you're not cloning the other person's recipe. And if you put enough stuff with it, you can pretty much turn it into your own recipe. And if you choose to give credit to the originator, you can, but you really don't need to, because now it's yours. I mean, you just learn from somebody else. I mean,
yep.
I'll sit there and I took Fresh's cornbread pudding recipe and I credited him because most of the recipe was his. Yeah. I just tweaked it, and but it was his recipe. And when I found it, I didn't realize it was his recipe until he had said something. I'm like, oh, okay, well then I better credit Fresh here because this is his deal.
Add something here in the notes somewhere.
Yeah. Start, dude. He laughed about it.
He's like, oh, I know that mix. That's a really good mix. You know why? Because it's mine.
Yeah. Because that was right after that big, the Country Clouds cornbread pudding came out, and everybody was trying to find ways of cloning it because it was hard to find the actual bottle. And Fresh came out with that, and I've played around with it a lot since then. I mean, It's okay. I mean, but now I've learned, there's other stuff that you could put in there, and I'm sure, Fresh has too. If he went ahead and if he decided to remix it again, I'm sure he'd probably make a totally different recipe. But it's a good basic 5-6 flavor recipe that you can do, and you get something really close to what that is.
Yep. Yeah, I agree, man. Country Cloud I love it. It's like one of my favorites. So Sub's been putting Devon cream with vanilla custard. Yeah. People were saying, I think they were saying it on Fresh Show yesterday, that maybe it was Shindo, that he gets, Devon is cheating, that you get a chocolate note out of it. I didn't really notice a chocolate note out of it. I mean, has anyone else tried it?
Until yesterday, I really hadn't even heard of the Devon cream, because that's just not one that, I guess, Vape Train has a Devon cream?
Yeah, it's like clotted cream, but I guess there is a distinct difference. If you're over in England, you might be able to define that a little bit better for us.
Mm-hmm.
It's used a lot in like with fruits. I want to use it. The reason why I got it is because it's an authentic Irish coffee. It's used in that sort of mix.
Okay.
Why I picked it up. I wanted to see.
I want to say we got Vape Ross Vape out there. Vape Ross Vape. Vape Ross Vape. and George, the chocolate coconut, the first one I did, it's good now. It's been a couple of weeks. It's steeped, 2 weeks, but I'm going to change it up now that I got some different coconuts. I'm going to swap out I had the coconut extra in there, and I got the Wonder Flavors coconut cream pie.
Mm.
I may still use the coconut extra, but add the coconut cream pie to it at like a 1.5% or something to even bring out that coconut, even mellow out that coconut a little bit. It gets almost like a forced muting, because at first the coconut was you couldn't taste anything else.
I have an ingredient for you guys to ponder over.
Okay. Oh yeah, I still have to get that one.
Now, do you think you can sub that out of a recipe, Mark?
No. The reason why is it's got a very unique flavor, and I play off of the unique flavor for that. So when people want to try to sub it, you would have to go with like a fried dough, a pound cake, and something else just to get this. So
Yeah.
you ever see this in a recipe? It's one of the hardest things to sub out.
What about if you use a little bit of Zapola flavor or a pound cake? I mean, you may have to do some work to try to sub it out, but
it's got a very faint anise anise flavor to it.
I think it has citrus too. I think there's a little bit of citrus.
And high vanilla. I get a lot of high vanilla.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's I could bake this by itself. I love it that much.
Yeah. It's a pretty complex flavor, and I think if you start to try and pull out some of the components, you end up with 4 or 5 already in a long recipe, and you start to get muted, and it starts to get muddied, and it doesn't tend to work.
Use say pound cake, a little bit of fried dough, and a little tiny bit of popcorn because there's a little bit of a popcorny note to a corny note to this as well.
Yeah, see, that's because I haven't picked up Nona's cake yet. It's when I always keep forgetting to put in my wish list, because I'll find something, I'll throw it in my wish list, and when I go to actually order, I'll go through the wish list, and usually I forget to put something there, and $80 later, I still don't have it.
I've already gone through 60 mils of this stuff.
Oh, wow.
It's that. It's just a unique taste. It very is.
It's kind of a niche flavor. Like when a recipe uses it, it needs, most of the time you kind of need it like for that recipe. I agree.
You could vape this with cream cheese icing all day long. That's it. Just
you could. You could. You totally.
What percentage do you use it?
I use it at 3.5% maximum.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's high. Yeah.
Most of the time I do it at 2.25. But if it's just a two ingredient recipe, I'll bump it up, and then the cream cheese icing I'll put at probably a 0.75 to a maximum 1.25. That's it. Just those two. Oh,
yeah. Yeah, it makes for a nice combination.
You don't need sweetener because BG is sweet enough for it.
Oh yeah.
So, have you done any remixes, Mark? Have you taken a recipe and kind of remixed it, made it your own?
No, I don't remix anybody's recipe. Just a rule of thumb: I've screwed up a lot of people's recipes, and I've tried to. Well, when I first started DIYing, I was copying everyone's recipes, and I didn't have what they had. And I tried subbing stuff out, and it just turned into a total nightmare. And then from that point on, like I said, I go on to the dessert websites, and I just scroll through, and I look at what I have for my recipe for the ingredients, and I'm like, oh, I can make that. And that's how I started. I just create my own, just continuously create my own.
That's pretty good.
Oh, sorry. I did, Kenna Ware did one on ELR. Gotta find that recipe now. One sec.
Yeah, that's fine. What about you, Frank? Have you done remixes or kind of?
Yep, I just pulled one up that I did. This one because that's one I pre-mixed before the show because I've been playing with this one for a while. This is a Dinner Lady lemon tart, and I'm not a huge graham cracker fan. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to share this one, show everybody what I did with this.
Straw Nana custard.
Oh, the straw Nana custard. Okay, yeah. The Kenna Ware one.
Yeah, I had that one, but I didn't know. I just had banana cream. I didn't have the colorless, and that's a huge difference between the colorless and the other one. Now,
see what I did with it. I actually did that one too. That was one of the first ones that I mixed. That I learned that 30-day steep time on it is spot on.
Yeah.
At 1 week, I couldn't taste I couldn't taste the banana. All I was getting was the strawberry. Second week, same thing. Third week, fourth week, all of a sudden, it's like the heavens opened up, and oh, yep, this is exactly what we was talking about. But I didn't have the Loran's banana, so I used banana cream from TPA at the same percentage, and it's really good. So I don't know.
I've remixed it since. I use the Wonder Flavors banana puree instead. Oh my god, you got to try that.
Here we go. This is what I did, because the original recipe calls for instead of using the cookie and the biscuit and this butter, calls for the golden butter. So I just used it. I think I knocked the percentage down to half on that, because the regular TPA butter is more of a popcorn butter. It's not like a it's not like a melted butter you would use for a lobster or something, or cooking or for bakery notes. And I'm not a big fan of graham cracker, so I used the flavor up cookie and Inaware biscuit to get that crust. And this turned out really nice. I mean, I'll pat myself on the back a little bit with this one. It says I'm missing the ingredients because for some reason the sweetener, I have that same sweetener and it didn't show up in my stash. I don't know what I did wrong there, but whatever. But pretty much everything else I left the same. And let's see, pull this up.
Yeah, things like that where you're talking about cookie bases and that sort of that component. That's a nice sub that you can do pretty easily and pretty safely, I think. Yeah,
and I think this turned out probably better than the original remixes, because there's a ton of remixes of this one out there. If you want to, if someone's into a lemon tart, you can find 100 of these on ELR, or all the flavors, and most of them have the graham cracker in it.
Yep.
And I add the PG because I wanted to keep the authenticity of the 70/30 that the original has. Just to, it still vapes good. I mean, actually, I'm going to throw it. I've been using it on the, with Goon Food. So Goon Food makes everything taste good anyway. So I'll pull that back down. Stop share. Okay, here we go.
So then a lot of what you did, Mark, was kind of trial and error in your recipe development then?
Yes.
Stop share.
Yeah.
I would remix my own recipes. Like I made a recipe in August of last year, and then I had gotten new flavors in, and then I remixed that recipe and made it a bit better. So as I progressed, I remixed a lot of my own recipes. I have banana donut version 1, version 2. I have strawberry short cheese version 1, version 2. I have I remix all the stuff that I used to have, and I redo everything.
Yeah, I did that with a lot of coffees. When I first started, I really wanted a good coffee vape, and I just, every time I'd get a new coffee mix in, a new coffee flavor, and I would try and remix it. I think the first one I started out was Fresh's Horton Hears a Scream. And then as I got more coffees in, I would change it and add different creams and, constantly doing that with coffee.
Horton Hears a Scream is one of my first coffee recipes that I messed around with.
Yep.
And I remixed it. I built on top of it because I think it was a good coffee, but it was like a blank canvas.
Yep.
Where you could add whatever you wanted to it, and it just came out great.
Yep.
That's one I still have to play with. I haven't tried that one yet, because at first my first initiation with coffees was a house juice, and it sucked. It was terrible. And I'm like, okay, well, being a new vapor at the time, I'm thinking, well, maybe coffee vapes just, aren't a thing, or it's just not my palate. So it turned me off to them. But then I got Twisted Throttle from, first I got Disco Java from Armageddon and, from Ducky's line, and that was really good. And then I got Twisted Throttle from West End, in a concentrate. I mixed that up, and that was really good. I'm like, okay, well then it was just me. It was just that first one that I was, introduced to. So now, I mean, every time I'm placing an order over at Bull City, I'm picking up a couple different coffees. The guy's got the Brazilian coffee from Wonder Flavors. I picked up the cafe latte from Vape Train. Picked up a couple others. I've been out of the 26 that I picked up the other day. You want to get that free shipping, so you want to get up there to $75.
Yep, exactly.
Paying for shipping is a crime. So
Exactly.
I only wanted boysenberry. That's all I really needed because of another recipe that we're going to talk about probably in another week or two that I'm going to make. Making the jelly crimpets from Tasty Cake. So
I love those.
Yeah, so I'm probably going to mix that today and let it steep. I still have to actually put the recipe together, but I pretty much know what I want to do with it. I just have to put pen to paper or just case, key to board.
Yeah, exactly. I think Mark, just I think it's rare that people can kind of come out of the gate and kind of start developing their own recipes, and I think the learning curve is pretty deep when you do it that way. So I think hats off to you.
Think of it this way: if I can do it, can do it, anybody can really do it. You just start off small. You cannot jump in there with both feet in the water at the same time.
No, you're going to waste a lot of money that way.
Yeah, you dip your toes in a little bit. If it's a 1 or 2 flavor recipe, jump on it. It's getting you off the stinkies, and you're creating your own juice. Like here in Canada, juices are brutally expensive. I can get a 30 ml bottle of juice here, and I'm looking at $25.
Yeah, it's criminal.
60 mils, I'm looking at $54. If anything above that, I'm looking at about $75. It's insane. So that's what drove me to DIY.
Yeah, I think that the show, and if anyone caught the show that Shindo was on yesterday with Fresh Show 3, the 2 recipe mixes, I think is another great way to kind of do recipe development and a great way to start too. Because often that's the way I'll test my flavors, is kind of see how they work together and then build off of that kind of initial profile and build around it. And that's a great way to kind of see how flavors work and how you can start to develop a recipe.
And also you got to ask questions. I asked Pippa, I asked Fresh, I asked everybody, and it's just you just soak it in. And I asked Fresh a lot of questions.
Oh yeah.
It was Fresh and Pippa. We were talking about different stuff, and then Tyrone. That's where Tyrone came into play, and I use that religiously because it's. I can't explain the flavor I get from it. It's just it adds what a recipe's missing, and it's something that a lot of people don't like, and there's a lot of people that will just swear by it.
Yeah. Yep. Totally.
My recipes now, I'll share with Mary Beth. I'll share with Frank. I'll share with Shindo. I'll share with people. I want their input. I need the input. I feed off the input, and it's just they're not criticizing your recipe. They're helping you out, and you just take all those notes, put it together, and then you build your recipe.
Yeah.
Yep. Completely agree. It's only going to make for a better mix because it's like you've taken the mixing experience of 4 or 5 people, which is a lot of experience that I don't have. I mean, truthfully, I've only been mixing for maybe almost close to a year now, and really only aggressively making my own recipes probably for 8 months. But so it's nice to have people that have that depth of long-term mixing to kind of draw from. Because I don't have it, I mean, I'm building my experience.
You have your taste. Frank has his taste. I have my taste.
Yep.
That's why I want to share it with you guys, because that way I'll get all your guys' taste, and then I can build that recipe, and it'll just explode, and everyone will love it.
Exactly. And that's the way I feel about it too, because my tastes have changed over the last year as well. I started making, a lot of things with strawberry and, just really, almost everything was strawberry and banana. It was just over and over and over again.
Because they're nice, easy flavors to work with too.
Yeah, and in your face stuff. And then I threw peach in there, and I was making these candies, and I got, I made the mistake. I bought a 4-ounce bottle of Swedish gummy from TFA that I'll never use.
Yep.
Because I loved Swedish fish and I like candies and all that, and I can't eat a lot of that stuff anymore. It hurts the teeth. And I was like, oh, well, I'll vape it. And I liked that. I was one of the few people that probably liked in the beginning until I learned how it totally destroyed my coils was, the Candy King from, the Swedish fish from Candy King, regardless of packaging on it, that's another thing down the road that hurting us now in the long run, which we knew it was going to. We tried to self-police it, but say going down that avenue right now. One thing I wanted to bring up before we got to the end of the show is most of us here, Alfredo, I don't know if you've picked them up yet, the one-drop flavors from Real Flavors, the new line that's out.
No, I have not picked them up. Everybody started getting them in. That's when I heard about it. So I was a little late to the party.
That's okay. I mean, you're probably better off. I mean, they're not. I don't want to sit there and trash him. Walt's a really good guy. He does a lot for the community. He runs a really nice business over there at Real Flavors. So I'm not going to sit here and trash him. But, and it's a big but, that they're weak. They're, in my opinion, they're very weak in flavor. They're very bland. I mean, I've ran them up 7, 8, 10%, and it's still. I mean, it's like watered down. It's like having a drink that's been sitting in ice all day, and then you go to grab it, and you can still taste the flavor, but it's just not there.
Yeah, that's actually a very good comparison, because that's exactly what it is. And I'm not sure if it's because I haven't, bumped up the percentages to the point where you're going to get it. It just feels like it's got a weakness, like a hole, like it just isn't full flavored.
Yeah, the only one that I haven't even opened yet was the menthol, just because I'm not. I mean, I basically bought that one to mix something for my wife or what have you, just something different.
Yeah,
to throw in there. I figured I'd try it. The strawberry's not bad. It doesn't suck. None of them suck. I mean, let me start there. They don't suck, but they're just not very strong. I mean, and which for a beginner that may be really good because. I know when I first started mixing, I was running everything up there, 8, 9%, thinking, oh, well, the more you put at, the more flavoring you put in it, the stronger it's going to be, not knowing about muting. And these flavors here, I don't think you can mute them.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know what their ceiling is. I haven't really put enough time in. I've kind of done like a straight 5% pretty much on testing of a couple of them. And I'm like, okay, I know what it is. It tastes kind of like what it sort of says it is, except for, I guess their blueberry tasted more like grape. And so I'm not even sure. I think my verdict is out yet. I need to put a little more time in and see. But off the gate, I'm like, okay, these are gonna take a little work to figure them out, I think.
Yeah, there's one that I'm gonna mix up. I'm gonna mix up with a fruit punch, and I'm gonna run them all up there 5, 6, 7%. So it's gonna be a 30% mix.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Because I'm gonna put in 5% of their cherry, 5% of their orange, 5% of their peach, 5% of their strawberry, 5% of. I mean, I'm just gonna put a mix, just throw it all in there and see and let it battle out and see who wins.
That's one approach at it.
I mean, and I think it's still going to be mellow, in my opinion. There's talking about Addie's yogurt out there. Yeah, that's Addie's yogurt. It's one of the best. If there's a commercial, well, you can only get it in concentrate. But if there's a commercial one shot out there that helps the community on top of everything else, Addie's yogurt at Adore Liquid. Use coupon code Pink Pussy, get that 10% off. And that stuff it's really, really good. I mean, if you've never tried it, and if you like kiwi and you like strawberry and you like yogurt, I mean, that's definitely one to get. I mean, that stuff it's really good.
It's another example of a simple recipe, couple flavors, moderate percentage. That's just so dang tasty.
Yep. All the proceeds of that one go right straight to advocacy. All the profit from that one. And we know what, Dawn does so much for the community as it is. And that's just another example of what she does.
After a week, this chocolate from One Drop, I'm getting it now. It's been a week at 7%.
Mm-hmm.
It's there. It's really there now.
Yeah, I mean that's one because most of them you don't. I've found that I haven't really tasted much of a difference. But it's something if you're looking to throw something in there, it's it's something you can throw in a mix. Like I throw it in my chocolate coconut. The coconut egg I threw a little bit in, but I also threw in lava cake, and I threw in chocolate mousse from Vape Train, and I just threw that in there just to see what it would do. And I mean, they all play together nice. I mean, Pip is asking you, Mark, if you get a chocolate syrup flavor from that.
I am getting. Hold on. It's dry. It's very dry. It's like if you have a hot chocolate and you get to the end and you have all that powdery thickness at the bottom of your hot chocolate and you drink that down, that's what it tastes like.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
it's
a lot of chocolates. A lot of chocolates tend to have that.
It's really drying out the tip of my tongue.
A lot of chocolates do that. I mean, that's part of the problem with chocolates in general. And that's where adding a little coconut to a chocolate can be somewhat helpful.
Oh yeah. I got lots of coconut to choose from.
Just a dash. We're not talking just a dash. I mean, I think that's probably what who was it? Hankson's Australian chocolate, probably, or was it chocolate Dutch? I can't remember which one. I think it was chocolate Deutsch. Chocolate Deutsch, yeah, I think, Chocolate Deutsch has a little bit of the coconut in it. I think that's probably what they did.
Yeah, that's another one I picked up this weekend too.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, the Australian chocolate was out of stock at Bull City on Thursday when I placed my order.
Yep.
Yeah, there's no syrupy taste at all. It's there. It's I think the longer it sits, the stronger it's going to become. They won't work as a standalone. They'll work in other, like if you add another chocolate to it. It's just like, for instance, I have Melty Caramel by Mullenberry. By itself, it tastes like crap. You mix it with another caramel, they explode together. It enhance each other. So I think that's what this chocolate's going to do. It's going to enhance other chocolates.
Yeah.
The custard's going to enhance other custards.
Yeah. So it's not going to be a primary. The problem is that you're having to use it at such a percentage, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That it may be. We'll see. We'll see.
Here we have a new member to the family here. Typical Owen Vlogs. Welcome, Owen. He said I came up on his main page. That's cool. I'm glad YouTube's giving me some love on their analytics. Getting the word out there. Tell your friends. Share it. Share it all your social media.
Earlier, George was asking about a cheesecake without all the graham. You can use TPA with graham at 2.5. Use Capella's New York cheesecake as well together at a 2.5. There's your base. You're not going to have a lot of graham, and go from there. You mix those two together, they enhance each other's perfectly.
Yep. Yeah, and it'll mute out that graham cracker because you'll get the other, like the light crust from the New York cheesecake that's not so much a graham cracker base.
That's right. Then you could use some biscuit by Anywhere.
Absolutely. Throw that biscuit in there, maybe throw some cookie, some shortbread or some flavor up cookie or something like that, like I like to do now. And definitely get that Italian cream. That is, yeah. Oh, and the vanilla custard cheesecake from 101. Yes, that's another one I like to put in my base. I have to buy more of that. I have a little bit left of a 30 mil. I have to grab more. Oh, Swifty's in the house. What's up, Swifty? Great giveaway last week.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, Swifty had his giveaway last week.
That's awesome.
Yeah, all the proceeds went to CASA. That was awesome. That was a great job by you, Swifty.
I was going to ask, Mark, have you used apple filling before by Flavora?
Yes.
What percentages do you tend to use it at?
1 second.
I have it. I haven't mixed with it yet. I've been wanting to do something with the apple. Me and time are not friends,
Yeah.
1.25.
Yeah. So interesting. So here's a recipe that was done by Daddy Kane 91, which I think is pretty interesting. I think I saw this on the DIY Down Under group, and I have never seen the apple filling used at a higher than, kind of like an accent note. And let me share this because I think it's a great kind of learning point. Where is it? Here it is. So this is kind of like an apple, like a fried dough apple kind of dessert mix, and apple filling 7%.
Wow.
Right? Because and you hear people talk about this flavor and they say, well, really all I get out of it maybe is more crust and maybe a little cinnamon, but I'm not really getting apple. And so in this recipe, they're using it at 7% and you're getting that apple filling at that. You get it. Because I made a mix because I was like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. I just have to try it higher than I usually do. And so I did it in this mix. Where is it? And get out of the way. And I used it at 4% because I just couldn't go up that high.
That would make me nervous.
I went to 4%, and I just used a little Purulum country apple because that's a really good cooked apple. And oh man, it is really, really good. I would recommend that if you're into like apple pie kind of filling stuff. This was like a Little Debbie's, like I was going after a Little Debbie's Hot Pocket kind of thing.
Okay.
And did that with the Wonder Flavors deep fried pastry dough and a little golden syrup, which I've been putting in everything for some reason. I think it's like my new favorite, like sweet gooey stuff that I add to everything of late. And a little quince jelly, which is very cool. Pippa was mentioning trying this out. And so kind of like a tart, bright, at least this is what I was getting out of it, like a kind of a tart, bright kind of fruit mix is kind of like what I'm getting out of it, almost like a pear and apple. And it really, really, really came out well. So I appreciate those 2 little tips that I picked up from my fellow DIYers.
The lowest I used it was 0.25%.
Yeah, that's kind of where I've used it. I've used it like probably definitely under 1%.
I mixed it with cinnamon apple, the apple with the cinnamon Danish swirl by Capella's. A little bit of fried dough by Real Flavors, marshmallow, vanilla, and white chocolate. It came out unbelievable.
Yeah. I like that cinnamon apple Danish. I like it a lot. It's like another one. That and the you were saying the Baker's Touch are kind of the two that I kind of I like to use in those sort of mixes.
Yeah, I have that golden syrup, but I haven't had anything to mix it with yet. And I'm thinking now with that Flavora apple, the apple pie filling, and the golden syrup, I can make some really sugary for that.
Yeah, totally.
And you wouldn't even have to add any sweetener to it.
Well, getting to be 3:00.
Yeah. Oh, Spork Life's in the house. He's showing up an hour late. That's typical.
Typical Spork.
Yeah.
That's what a Spork does.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone else has any questions. Could you put the link up? Yeah, I think I can do that.
The link for what they want the link for? They're looking at the link for Bull City, or which link are they talking about? Let's see, subs. Oh, the link for your recipe. Okay.
Yeah, we can do that. Sure. Yep. So
yeah, exactly, Cincinnati King. $5 more for a gallon of EG, but you get it in 2 days.
Yep. Yeah, and you can use the code. What's the code, Frank?
Kitchen Mix 6.
Let me put that in there.
Yeah. In the description, I have for this stream, I have Bull City's link in there, and I also put in because now since Life has worked so hard on the Pink Pussy list. He has a website up, so now you can just go to that website and all the companies, Adore, Coil Vapes, Omegaddon, multiple other ones in there that all use Pink Pussy code. They're all there. They have links. You can just click right onto them and go to their site and save your 10%.
Yep.
Yeah, Mixed Life's getting ready to start, and later on today, I believe we still have the Vixens are at 6.
Yep.
DIY Juice University, I think, is at 5 Eastern. Yeah, I think they're at 5 Eastern. I think right now the 4 o'clock spot's still open. I don't think the other guys have been coming back yet. The Intergalactic Olympics. Yep, that's right. That's what I got going on behind me there. See there. Oh, turn my head the wrong way. Yeah, I was trying to get rid of that glare. Oh, Mike Vapes just went live too. Oh yeah, Mike Vapes just went a live stream. Mess around with
these guys giveaways today.
Yeah, probably. Yep. All right, guys. Next week, as of right now, there won't be a show next week. I'm going to Detroit. If something changes, then we will have a show. But as of right now, I'm going to Detroit. So I may do something live in Detroit. We'll see. Bring the phone. Well, actually, that's next Sunday. If I'm going to Detroit, I'll be working next Sunday. So that won't. But maybe something over the weekend. I'm sure we'll all be trying to do some stuff. So that'll be a blast. Oh, Big Natty's in the house. What's up, Natty? Addie, Tooney, everybody's coming in late. What the heck? We're getting ready. We're getting ready to sign off, and everyone's popping in. But make sure you hit that thumbs up. Show us some love. Or hit the thumbs down if you think we're a bunch of assholes. Whichever you want to do.
Could be.
It's all good.
I can be an asshole.
Oh, I know I can. Right? That's for damn sure. Let's go around the room. Mark, where can everybody find you if they don't know where to find you already?
DIY Down Under Facebook group. I'm there all the time. I belong to almost every Facebook group that has to do with DIY. I'm always on all the chats. Always there.
Oh, HD Lawn Maintenance.
Hey, what's up, HD? All right. Alfredo. Pimp your shit.
Well, thank you for having me back, Frank.
Oh, thanks for coming back. Oh, they just got their notifications. Oh, yeah, thanks, YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube's on the ball.
Yeah. Yep.
You can find me at thevapeshack.org. I'm also in DIY Down Under Facebook group. I don't post much, but I read everything that comes out on there because it's a really good place. A lot of knowledge in that room.
Yeah. Most of it provided by Mark and Pippa.
Yeah. They're definitely kicking ass over there and taking names.
No, there are a lot of great people on there, and they're more than willing to share. It's really a great group.
That's about it. Good to be back, and
glad to have you back. Glad that things are looking up.
Yep.
Glad you got a computer that works and everything. He's got a webcam better than mine now. Looking good. Yep, I'm Mary Beth. I'm also known as MechModRN on ELR and on all the flavors. You can find me mostly at DIY Down Under. And Eat Sleep Mix, or ESMR, are 2 Facebook groups that I recommend. If you're new, they're great and welcoming. You can ask questions and share, and they're just a fabulous group. DIY Down Under also has a webpage, UIIdownunder.com.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to put that in the chat.
Yeah, I would strongly recommend that you go on over there and check them out. A lot of great content being contributed to by the community. A great article that was just put on there was Moped in 5 minutes, or 5 minutes with Moped, something like that.
Yeah, that was really good.
Which was really good because you kind of get into how people started mixing and that little person. Oh my God, how cute. So I recommend that you take a look. Even if you've been into mixing for a while, there's still great content that is being shared on those web pages and websites. So, and if you're looking for a community to become a part of, a Zoom room kind of to chat with, they have a Zoom room there, but you can also head over to Vape Shack. A lot of mixers hang out there as well, and you can kind of pop in there. And that's about it for me. What you got, Frank?
Oh, glad everyone was able to show up. Alfredo, great to have you back. Mark, thanks for subbing in. You did a great job as usual.
Oh,
Mary Beth is, Alfredo may be the ball holder, but Mary Beth steers this ship. That's right. Yeah. Watch out for that iceberg. Oh shit.
Yep.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, Cincinnati King Vape Shack is a place where you use your camera. Exactly. Or you can just come in as long as you have your mic working. You can have a working mic.
One of the two.
Yeah, Socrates popped in. What's up, brother? Yeah, I didn't get a chance to shout him out earlier. I saw Subaru Nerve Vapes out there. If you aren't already subbed to him, he's starting to get some good content. Well, he's had some good content up on his YouTube page. Check him out. Go give him a sub, give him a look. That's it. Thanks everybody for coming out. Everyone knows where you can find me. Find me right here. You can find me over at DIY Down Under as well. ELR, ATF. ATF, I'm still working on all the flavors. I got to get my paid sub going there and get some recipes up over there. Instagrizzles. Mary Beth's been doing some great work there with the Instagram, promoting the show over there. We're coming along pretty good. We're 7 episodes in now. People are finding us. It's starting to grow. I like it. We're
Frank
doing
has
good.
an official logo now. Compliments of Nikki B and Get Knotted or Knotted B, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Not Your Average Threads. She'll be in Detroit, and she's now she's got the vinyl printing going as well as the embroidery. She did Daniel's. She did mine. She's done. I think she did something for Spork Life. I mean, she's doing for everybody. Addie Tooney. I think she might. I don't know if she did for Addie. Golf tees. Did one for him. So she's doing a ton of great work over there. So check her out on Instagram if you're looking to get something done. Her website's not up yet, but it's coming.
Some really nice custom work, embroidered, and now transfers for hats and shirts. Really nice stuff.
Yeah, Stand Up 3D, Jesse. He's gotten his Addy stands up and running. And check him out on Instagram. His website is in the process and will be done shortly as well. He's doing some really good stuff over there. Yep. But that's it, everybody. Thanks for coming. And we'll see everybody on the next show. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.